Hey, this is Brian. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you haven't done so already, be sure to give us a like, make sure to subscribe, and check us out at kiesmotorsports.com. Today, we are working on this awesome F30 328i, and we are going to show you how to install a charge pipe and an intercooler from Evolution Racewerks. Now, this is an N26, but it's the exact same process on the N20. Now, because the Evolution Racewerks intercooler is massive, we are going to need to remove the front bumper. Now, if you're just installing the charge pipe, you can skip ahead. You don't need to do this, but if you're installing this intercooler, it's a must-do. So to remove the bumper, what we need to first do is remove 5 8mm screws. There's one here, here, up here out of sight, and then there's one right here, and there's another one right here. Then do the exact same thing on the other side. Now what we need to do is underneath the car, we need to remove all of these 8mm screws and also all of these push pins. For these push pins, all you need to do is pull the center out and then the rest will follow. So just go along the entire front of the bumper here and remove them all. All right, and as you can see, Cliff is here to help out. So if you have a car with a front license plate, you need to make sure that you pull it off because the bracket is held in by these really long screws and that can prevent the bumper from being removed. Now what we're going to do is we are going to remove all of the screws along the front here. So just take this weather stripping, just very carefully pull it up and set it out of the way. And then as you'll see, we have a T25, we have 6 T30s, and another T25. So remove these at this time. Now as you'll see, this car has headlight washers. If you have headlight washers or PDC, parking distance control sensors, the connections are going to be on this side of the bumper. So here you can see the connection for the headlight washer. So the way that this works is there's this little black springy piece right here. You want to just pull it back, disconnect it, and some fluid may leak out. So what we recommend is have a zip tie ready to go. We're just gonna lightly zip tie this right here, just like that. Once you have it in place, it's a good idea to put some kind of microfiber towel under it just so it doesn't scratch your paint. Now, if your car has fog lights, you're going to need to disconnect this connection right here on both sides. Now with the second person, what you want to do is gently lift the sides off, slide the top, and then just pull the bumper off and put it in a safe location. Now what we need to do is we need to remove the splash shield. So this is held on by 3,000 of these little 8mm screws. So not really that many, but I think there's 24. So whenever you're working on your car, you always want to have some kind of eye protection because when you take this down, there's a ton of junk in it. So at this time, let's remove these. All right. Just slide this out. All right, so this is going to be the most difficult part of this installation. And basically what it is, there's this little plastic piece. So what you need to do is you need to pull it downward. So you need to pull it towards the intercooler. Now you can do it with your hand, but the problem is it's very tough. So what I like to do is get some kind of trim tool, and then you can start just very carefully on one side, and just pop it down. And then once you get one side off, you'll be able to get the other side. And once we have this completely off, I'm gonna show you exactly what we just did. All right, so here's the piece right here. Once you take this off, you can throw it away. You're never gonna use it again. Now you're gonna do the exact same thing on this side. So you just very carefully, just pull that down. Okay. And there's number 2. Now what we need to do is we need to remove these clips. So there's one on each side. So this is the turbo to intercooler charge pipe. So we're gonna start here. What I like to do is kind of compress this a little bit, and then you can wiggle this tool in here and then just carefully just navigate this out, just like so. And here's a shot at what that looks like. Then you can try to do that same thing on the other side. Pop that side out, and then compress it a little bit, and you can pull that one out as well. Now the last thing we need to do to get the intercooler out is remove this T25. So just take a T25 right there, remove this one, then remove the one on the other side. All right, so once you're here, take your turbo to intercooler charge pipe off. You just set that to the side. Then try to loosen your other charge pipe. Now, if this is too tough to do for you, what I'd recommend is try to loosen the top first and just lower it down, and you can just slide it out. So if you've ever wondered why an intercooler upgrade is essential, as you can see, this is the OEM one. You're gonna find pretty much the same one on a 328 or a 335, and Schumacher is holding the amazing intercooler from Evolution Racewerks. And as you can see, you are going to get significantly lower temps with this, which is going to give you better performance. Here we are at the top of the charge pipe where it connects to the throttle body. So you need to disconnect your Tmap sensors. So there's a little tab over here. Just press down, slide that off, disconnect this. Now you'll see that there's a vacuum line right here. There's a connection right here, and there's also one underneath that's a little bit hard to see. It's easiest if you disconnect it here. So you just squeeze on both sides and just very carefully wiggle that out. So this next one's gonna be very difficult to see because it's on the bottoms. All right, so just squeeze and just pull down just like that. Then take a pick tool, slide it under here, and just carefully work this off. After that is done, you can take your charge pipe, just gently wiggle it off, and on the N26, you just get it, just very carefully lift it up just like that. So here we can see the difference in the OEM charge pipe and then the Evolution Racewerks. Now the main problems with these is they crack apart right here, the vacuum line cracks apart, and as you can see, these are just very thin, brittle plastic. They just blow apart at random locations sometimes. So what I like to do is line these up so you can get everything in the right orientation. So I'm gonna try to match that angle up there, put our coupler on right here. And then if you look down here, you'll be able to see the orientation that this needs to go. So you can see this little cutout right there, and it looks like that little cutout right there. You can see that it's facing this way. So when we do a light assembly here, we can have everything in the correct orientation. Now on your old charge pipe, we're going to take a T25 and very carefully remove your Tmap sensor. Now it's very important to note that these are screws and there's bolts that are going to be used on the Evolution Racewerks, so never use these again. These are only for the plastic. Just gently wiggle that out. All right, so then we'll get our Tmap sensor. We'll put it in the Evolution Racewerks pipe, just like that. All right, now you can take the provided bolts, and these are Allen, but you can use your T25. For this next part, what we need to do is we need to remove these O-rings from our factory charge pipe, and we need to reinstall them in the Evolution Racewerks. Then you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So now what you can do is take an 11mm. We're just gonna put one out of the two clamps on here. We're gonna leave the top one off for now. Now what you can do is get that vacuum line, press it into place. You can very carefully navigate this down and slide it on the throttle body. You take the C-clamp, you press it in, and then you want to just try to test it and make sure that everything is nice and solid. At this point, you can just take this vacuum line, connect that, and then reach back around and connect your Tmap sensor. Now it's time to install the lower section of the charge pipe. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide it in place, but we're not going to screw it down quite yet. We want to make sure that the intercooler sits nice and perfect first. So to do this, you want to take this little notch right there, and this is going to go up. Now for the sake of the camera angle, I'm just going to slide it up from the bottom. We're going to slide it on just like that. Now at this point, what you want to do, make sure that you line this top clamp up where you can easily get to it. So as you can see, we can get our 11mm straight on there. Now because of the size of the new intercooler, we need to remove the old shrouding because it's not going to do us any justice. So to do this, there's this little plastic clip right under here, and then there's another one right over here. Now when you're removing this, it's very likely that these clips will break, but you're not going to need it again, so you are able to discard this piece if you don't want to store it in your garage. Then you want to do the same thing on the other side, and then you can just pull the rest of this shroud down and throw it in the trash can. Now what we can do, just remove these two bolts right here. Then what you could do is just guide this in the hole and just very carefully slide it straight up. And as you're lifting it up, what you want to do is start to line your charge pipe and then your turbo to intercooler charge pipe. And also on your fan, there's a little clip right here. You'll notice that there's a bend in the intercooler piping, or the intercooler bottom here. You just want to gently guide those over. Then what you can do is just take the screw and just hand thread it in, just like that. And that's just going to take some of the weight off. Then what you can do is just guide this charge pipe on, just like that. And then take the screw and line this side up as well. And take your T25, tighten that down just like that. Do the same on the other side. All right, so now what we can do slide this down. You get this little clamp, just like that. Then take your other clip, put it on just like that. Now with the charge pipe mounted to the intercooler, we can go back and tighten this clamp. Then what we're going to do is we're going to install these supports, and they line up with these spots, so you can take a bolt, thread that in there. All right, and there you can see our amazing new Evolution Racewerks charge pipe, complete with the intercooler. Now, typically at this point, you would put the stock bumper back on the car. However, we're actually doing an M Sport conversion, so we're gonna be a little while. We don't wanna hold you up, so just reassemble everything in the reverse order that it was removed. So at this point, the Evolution Racewerks charge pipe and intercooler are fully installed. They look amazing and they perform amazing. Once again, this is Brian and Cliff. Thanks so much for watching Kies Motorsports. As always, be sure to give us a thumbs up. There's some dirt over there if you could get that.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Be sure to subscribe and check us out at KiesMotorsports.com for all your BMW retrofit performance and aesthetic needs. And while you're at it, you can check out Shoot Mile Swift's channel. Thanks for watching and have a great day.